happening, all the interviews. But Aaron, as a Torontonian yourself, what has the impact been like in your home city?
Well, thanks a lot, guys. It's a pleasure to be on side. And I tell you what, it's unbelievable. I was in Toronto over the festive break for another assignment for Premier Sports, and I asked other television and professional sports colleagues at that time about the Toronto Wolfpack, and there is a buzz. There's 7 professional sports teams in Toronto right now, most in pretty good shape. The Raptors and the Blue Jays are playoff teams. Toronto FC were in the MLS final. The hockey team is always a sellout, but people are talking about Toronto and the Wolfpack, and I can tell you why. It's because of the marketing and the logo and all the work that's gone in, and all that work has come from the CEO, Eric Perez. He's an interesting guy with a big, big vision, and we were lucky enough to catch up with Eric Perez just a few moments ago. Wolfpack CEO and, you know, the mastermind behind history, the first ever transatlantic professional sports team. Eric Perez joins us on Premier Sports. Tell us a little bit about, we're standing on pitch here, it's about to happen.
Listen, first of all, great to be back on Premier Sports, the home of rugby league in Canada. You know, it's a big day for us. We're really excited. It's a big achievement just to get here. I think the lads are all ready to go, and we're going to do Toronto and Canada proud today.
Talk about some of the lead-in, the undertaking. We've talked to some coaches and some of the players. It is a massive undertaking to do what you've done, but here we are at the home of the Challenge Cup champions. It's magnificent.
Yeah, it's huge. Hull FC, one of the first clubs that I really started following. So it's a big moment to play against them. It's a you know, Challenge Cup champion, so they've got the pedigree, and they're actually older than Canada, 1865, Canada 1867, so they've got the history too, so hopefully we'll make some history today.
A lot of the buzz around the club is the guys have really come together. It's become a family, and you know what, sometimes when you're starting out a new endeavor, you have to have everyone singing off the same page. It seems to be the case in that locker room.
Yeah, credit to the coaching staff for selecting the right guys, and credit to the guys for being great guys. And yeah, we've come together, and we're already a family, so we're going to represent Toronto the right way.
Some of the key guys that you're excited about having on that roster that people are going to see in a few moments here on Premier Sports?
Yeah, I mean, look out for Andrew Dixon, Super League veteran. Reece Dean used to play for Hull FC, so I'm sure he'll be fired up. The whole squad, you know, Fui Moi Moi will definitely rattle some rib cages, so yeah, it should be great.
And I know how proud you are. We talked a little bit off camera. You're on the verge of this all becoming a reality. Just one thing, what you hope to accomplish today?
Today, I hope that we get a good run out. The lads sort of gel, because it's our first time out, and we entertain the fans and show them what Wolfpack Rugby League is all about. Thanks, Eric. Good luck all season long. Thank you, Aaron.
So, Eric Perez, and one thing you can't deny is his absolute enthusiasm for this adventure. He was a man who saw rugby league for the first time, I think it was about 6 years ago, when he was living over here in Birmingham and thought, this is the most Canadian sport, not in Canada, we need to have some of this. And if you're cynical about this adventure, if you're not quite sure about whether it's going to work, you just have to sit down with Eric for about 10 minutes, and you're convinced.
Well, spend half an hour with him, and you'll be launching your own team wherever you live from. He's fabulously excited, and as sure he should be. The actual things he's achieved in that small period of time as well to get to where we are now is, there hasn't been a wall he hasn't knocked over, or a door there hasn't had to kick in to get us there. And the ambition and the excitement in Toronto is palpable. We're hoping that the excitement is the same over here. We're in our first year, certainly saying we'd like to be everybody's second favourite team until clearly we start beating some teams and then they'll hate us. But he's an inspiration for sure, along with the rest of the ownership group. They're really ambitious, and they get rugby league. They get rugby league is for North America, and they get the fact that sometimes you get beat on the bounce of the ball or a referee's decision or a knock-on or something. They understand how to build a club, and we're going in the right direction for sure.
Well, let's find out what this first team is going to be as far as Toronto Wolfpack are concerned today, and indeed how Hull will be lining up. Let's join Aaron again down on the touchline.
Thanks, guys. I think someone we should really look out for today is the captain, the first ever captain in Wolfpack history, Craig Hall. This is a player that was outstanding for Hull FC, so he has a little bit of history lining up at this stadium, so it's going to be a little bit different for him looking across and seeing some former teammates here. So interesting there, and whenever you're named the captain of a team, we know that's special, so keep an eye out on Captain Hall today. Rhys Jacks, a big part of this Toronto Wolfpack offering. He's an Australian by birth. He has represented Canada now internationally. He's a guy that's going to be chomping at the bit today. And of course, you heard Eric Perez talk about Fui, Mui, Mui. This is a team that's really, really built to win right now. And those are three guys that certainly, if you're new to rugby league, keep an eye on Hall, Jax, and Mui Mui. It's going to be an exciting day. And of course, it all revolves around some of the strategy and what the coaches have in place for today. We were lucky enough to catch up with both head coaches just moments ago. Hull FC head coach Lee Radford joins us now, a stage where you've had so much success over the last few years. A little bit of history today, welcoming the Toronto Wolfpack to town.
Yeah, you know, obviously a real momentous day for them as a club. You know, and I hope it's the start of something big. You know, Canadian Rugby League, I think the game itself, you know, particularly in the UK, needs a shot in the arm, and if that can come from Canada, then you know, that'll be fantastic. But it's a pre-season hit out, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to have a look at our boys as well.
Well, you've named a very strong side, 15 usual starters in the squad today. Tell us a little bit about what you expect from them in the preseason build-up, but also against the Wolfpack. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think you know, probably the last two games we've played, we've gone for our youth. And I think, you know, physically we've lost, you know, some real key battles in there, and to get that back, having lost that, is difficult. So today I think you'll see a real improvement in us physically, and hopefully that'll give us a good start. And you know, in Toronto, they're a Championship one side, but full time with a lot of Super League experience in there. So it'll be a really good hit out, I'm sure.
And you talk about the history and all that, always nice to be part of a special occasion, but how do you calm your guys down and say, okay, it is a bit of history, but we've got to get a result?
It's a tricky one, because I think you know, they're all chomping at the bit to play now. Obviously some of them have been in pre-season now for 7 or 8 weeks and are ready for a game, so they can get rid of all that energy out there today.
Thanks and good luck today.
Thank you very much. Cheers, pal.
Head coach Paul Rowley, the Toronto Wolfpack, a bit of history today. First off, after all the preparation and all the build-up and all that, it must be exciting to be at the pitch ready to get it going.
It was nice to dust off the cobwebs, get back into the routine, and obviously to be at this tremendous stadium. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the boys. You know, they've worked hard together. They've come together as a family really quickly, and you know, they need to look after each other now against a really tough and aggressive Hull side.
It is a tough and aggressive side, but it gives you a chance to put together a blueprint to what you have in the cupboard going into the season start March 4th.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have much bearing on where we finish in League One. Obviously, we're oceans apart in terms of the, you know, the level where we're playing at. But yeah, certainly we want to test ourselves against the best, and you know, the Challenge Cup winners. There's no tougher place to come. So it'll give us a benchmark in the sense that we'll have some footage and somewhere to build from. You know, we're so new, brand new, that you know, everything's new to us. So we've had nothing to go on so far. So yeah, it's going to be a good start for us.
When you talk about that, it's all new, so there hasn't been that blueprint or what. And how do you get the guys just in the mindset to play rugby? They've done this throughout their careers, despite the fact this is history with the first transatlantic team and all that sort of build-up.
Yeah, the important thing is everybody's smiling, and you know, the boys out there, some of them saying, yeah, it's been a long time since I've enjoyed coming to a game, and you know, looking forward to playing. So this is what they've done. This is what they've done from being young lads, and it's not too difficult. It's just reminding them about how fun this great game can be, and you know, they're all here to work hard and have fun ultimately at the end of the day.
Thanks, coach. Good luck today.
Cheers. Thanks.
Well, we're just a few moments away from a little bit of rugby league history being made. It's Hull FC against Toronto Wolfpack. Full match live in a moment's time. Well, I don't think many of us were expecting to be here today, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, but Eric Perez, the chief executive of the Toronto Wolfpack, had a dream, and today the dream begins to come true. How it plays out over the next few years remains to be seen, but a lot of curious people here with good reason, because this could be the start of something very, very special about rugby league. I mean, he's not only talking about Toronto, is he? He's talking about Montreal and Chicago and maybe even New York down the years. But let's start with the very first step, Brian Noble. A real test, but just the fact that Toronto are here today is proof that this could work.
Absolutely, and I think we have to recognise that the hoops that have been jumped through and the determination to get through those hoops leads us to believe that we're all hoping, or certainly my side of the fence are hoping, that it's a very, very successful dream that Eric's embarked on with a lot of other people. And you're right, it might be Boston and it might be Montreal, and hopefully that will infuse the Northern Hemisphere for rugby league, so this transatlantic business might not just be as difficult as some people make it out if we keep this same positivity about ourselves.
Well, their first competitive game will be in the Challenge Cup in about 3-4 weeks' time, in the third round of the Challenge Cup. They don't know who they're going to be playing yet. That's still to be decided through the ties that are coming up next week, and then the draw thereafter. And then the league kicks off in March, and as we mentioned earlier, every match live here on Premier Sports. League One, home and away. The first group of matches will be over here, and then it's back to Toronto when the travelling dynamics will be tested, both for the home side and the away side as well. And just an explanation, Brian, because a lot of people who are tuning in today might not be aware how this works, but you play that group of matches over here, and then you go back to Toronto, and the Wolfpack are actually paying for all the other clubs to go over to play on a weekly basis in Toronto.
Every team that comes and visits us gets 4 or 5 days in Toronto, however many days they need to make it work to get the best out of their preparation, if you like, for the game. But that's quite right. The Wolfpack are paying for everybody to fly out, and everybody to fly back home again. They made a commitment not to take any prize money from the competitions as well over the next couple of years, which some huge commitments.
Well, here they come, the first steps towards a little bit of rugby league history. The team in black, Toronto, taking centre stage for the very first time. Craig Hall leading that side out. This is familiar territory for him, of course. Such a loyal servant of Hull down the years, and the other side in the city, Hull Kingston Rovers. He was still ripping up Super League with Wakefield this time last year and beyond. So we know his pedigree, and we know the pedigree of so many in that Toronto side. If they gel, I think a lot of people are expecting them to burn through League One this year and then take on the championship. Hull have put out a decent side. Jamie Shaw at full-back, for Noah Tumivavi, Josh Griffin amongst the debutants today, of course, having signed from Salford. Albert Kelly is in there as well, having come across the city from Hull Kingston Rovers, and a good few youngsters on the bench. Not all of them listed there, but we will see them as the day goes on. And what about that for a Toronto Wolfpack side? QLT, Quentin Lola-Tagagai at full-back. Well, those who've watched Premier Sports down the years know how exciting he is. First touch of the ball. It is the first tackle by a Torontonian player here. It's going to be put in down that right-hand side by Adam Sidlow, and Hull start 10 metres out from their own line.
This is a huge physical challenge for the Wolfpack. This first hit out, just been away on warm weather training as well, the whole team.
Okay, well done. They've been in Portugal, haven't they, Hull? I think they only got back on Friday, so this chilly weather might catch them a little by surprise. But they did play against Hull Kingston Rovers last week, and even in pre-season, that's always a tasty fixture, so they'll have a bit about them. Little step being taken here by Josh Griffin, but running straight into trouble. Craig Hall and Rhys Jacks there to stop him in his tracks. And this is a decent first set in defence from Toronto's point of view. Referee today, by the way, is Liam Staveley, just signalling the sixth tackle, the kick downfield towards that left-hand side. A little bit of a juggle, picked up by Liam Kay, and he'll run it back towards that 20-metre mark.
Yeah, good start from the Hull side, showing their physical prowess already and how they want to go about their business. Let's see what the Wolfpack have to offer.
And as much as we are very much focusing on Toronto here today because of all the history that is being made, it is still a fascinating day to watch this Hull side as well, having won the Challenge Cup last year. Be interesting to see how they go this year. 1 or 2 minor changes in personnel. As we mentioned, Albert Kelly and Josh Griffin amongst them playing today. So it's a good early taste of what they might produce this season, and that's a good ball which Laithwaite runs onto, the former Warrington man, and finds a bit of a break, and QLT will throw it wide to Hall, and Hall is a forward pass. So that first little flurry of excitement comes to naught, and it will be Hull FC who get the head and feet here.
Yeah, I think it was a forward pass here. We see great break, Laithwaite right on the fly through a hole, comes around the back trying to find some support. I think this one from Togo guys are just adjudicated to be a forward pass to Craig Hall. But great start from Toronto, prepared to throw the ball around.
Loose forwards heading properly.
So the scrum is going to be fed by Mark Sneed. Again, another test of the Woolpack defence here as Hull look to bring it forward with their usual muscularity. Mahe Fanua leading the way, the man who has his initials in gold on his teeth, and a little dummy shown. There's a chance of an overlap, but Toronto are able to close things down. If you're wondering about the strips here, by the way, Hull FC, of course, normally the black and whites, they are playing in their change strip. It's a chance they've given for Toronto to play in their brand new strip here today, the all-black strip. A chance for Toronto to show off their new colours. And here's Jamie Shaw showing off his quick-footedness.
And a massive thanks to the whole club. Adam Pearson and Motu Tony and Lee Radford were in on deliberation. Historically, our home kit on an away jump in an away stadium. It's a great act from the whole club.
It's Green who's just beyond the halfway line. Back it comes to Thompson. The ball is thrown left for Sneed to try and jab one through. And Johnny Paramore, who was doing the business for Lee up to the end of last season, is tackled 15 metres out from his own line. So it's spread. They're using the ball a little bit here, which is good to see. QLT goes left, but the defence is good.
They came well there, Hull. Closed it down really well. What you will find with this Toronto team is Coach Rowley plays a brand of rugby that's very, very exciting, and Torontonians will love this.
Well, it's what we like to see, using the ball, not the 5 drives and a kick. Worthington, another former Lee player, Paul Rowley having gone to the well that served him well at Lee and picked up 2 or 3 of those players for this new enterprise. Just inside enemy territory. Dummy half, it's Bussey, Jack Bussey. Featherstone Rovers fans will remember him, and London as well. Here comes Bezic. All that seniority about his play. The kick is high from Reece Jaggs. Shaw's underneath it and pouches safely enough. And not a bad end to the set.
He's an exciting player, and Jamie Shaw catches the ball and you think he's going to take off. And one of the hallmarks of the whole team last year was their ability to speed the game up, running out of dummy half. Clearly Houghton not playing today, but they'll have the same kind of principles.
And a penalty. I think it's the first of the game, isn't it, that our referee, Mr. Staveley, has given. So a chance for Hull to gain some easy yardage here.
Back. Touch.
Left foot of Sneed to try to find touch. And a set that will start inside the Toronto half. So a first chance here for Hull to really lay a platform and have a go in this next 6 tackles. In by Watts. Excellent last year.
He was good last year, wasn't he, Watts? Many tipped him to be in the national side.
Interesting, Dean Hadley playing as hooker as well today. As the ball goes wide right. No Danny Hatton in that lineup. There are quite a few big names missing for Hull, but there are still quite a few names out there as well. Here's one of them, Sneed, who throws it left to Griffin, and Griffin with the ball away, and a chance for Talanoa down this left-hand side. So Guy grabs a hold. I think Talanoa's got there. Has he? No, just held up short. Well, he's claiming he got there. The naked eye suggested he might have done. I think a video referee might have been sought there, but with no video referee here today. Watts with the pass, a little bit scruffy. If it's caught, there's an overlap opportunity. Toronto's defence is a little rattled here. The spin and the turn. Hadley's down. 8 metres away.
Aren't they, Hull?
Back it comes. Here's Sneed. Inside now for Jordan Thompson. Thompson hammers it in, the former Castleford man. Still a couple of tackles left in the set. They still have an opportunity here. Toronto have it all on to keep them out. A dabbed little kick, it's dropped on.
Let him stand.
It's dropped on that left-hand side. Is it Kay who's fallen on that? They have possession back again.
It's QLT, I think, out the back. Toga guy. Had to scramble hard there, didn't they, Toronto? Great expansive football as well from this whole team.
So here comes a drive and a penalty for Toronto. Just a few moments ago, Talanoa thought he might have got over the line.
Guys on side.
Let's have a look to see if he did or not. Well, he's got a bit of a chance here.
Big unit, isn't he? There you go, let's have a look. I think
No,
it was short.
Yeah, the referee's right. Absolutely
I
spot
can't
on.
believe you've tested the officials this early in the season, Mr. Woods.
They
were
need to be
bang
kept
on.
on. They need to be kept honest. And as long as they're making the right decisions, as Mr. Staveley just has, then that's all that matters.
Right decision if you're a Toronto player.
Move, Albert!
It's Worthington who's held up
Wait. Go.
just short of the halfway line. Taken in by Adam Sidler.
Let him stand, Jordan!
3 tough years at Bradford for him, especially this last 12 months. It's been tough for a lot of people at Bradford, hasn't it, this last 12 months?
No afters, Liam, come
Toronto
on.
playing with a bit of fluidity, but the ball has gone to ground, but it's knocked on by Griffin.
Player, wasn't it?
Knocked on by Griffin. He's going to bring that back. So a little bit of
We'll
wasted.
appreciate that, Josh Griffin, straight after his training camp in Portugal. Run 60 metres for your first touch.
Well, he's already a hero over here, isn't he, this side of the city, because he played his part for Salford in that £1 million game that saw Hulkingston Rovers relegated.
Yeah, he's adjudicated that Griffin knocked on there, and Griffin may have a case to say he didn't. See if we see it from this angle. Tough call.
He's a fabulously talented centre, isn't he, Josh Griffin?
It's a great signing. They've got Jake Connor as well from the Huddersfield team. I think he's just been quite some astute signings around this whole club this year. Boy Kelly from Hull KR.
In the absence
Exciting.
well, just on Griffin as well, in the absence of real depth as far as England are concerned, you can imagine him making a real push for a World Cup place this year.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Wait to win. Reece, wait there. Out!
So the feed, and here it comes through Craig Hall. Very much used to playing in black and white on this ground.
Okay.
Bezic, a dummy half, will go down this blind side where Laithwaite was just hovering again. Bezic stands and waits, 4 tackles to go. It's a decent position. They really are working this outside, this blind side, as Hall goes again. Just testing Hall's concentration. Play the ball is slow. Bezic goes back to the middle. Here's Rhys Jacks, the little Australian, and driven in by Sidlow, who's had the ball stolen right in front of the sticks. Now, do they go for goal here, or do they take it off?
Shouting from here, play on.
Jordan Thompson.
Well, I think in any other game, I think if this was a league game or a Challenge Cup tie, I think they might go for goal here just to get those tins rattling. But hey, this is a game to entertain, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So here they go, and a real chance thrown at the back by Wallace. QLT is in there, but no dice this time. So Bezic moves into dummy half again. It's taken by Sidlow. He'll try to drive his way over, using all that muscle and menace again, but Hull's defence holds firm. But right close to the line, and Emmett. Oh, he's held up, Jake Emmett.
There's a few testing these officials. He said he got it, didn't get it down. Play on, play 3.
There we go.
You might have had a bit of long odds on Emmett being a first try scorer in any game, but he hasn't quite got there. QLT lobs it out. Hall does well to hold on. The ball's come out but gone backwards. The touch judge says play on, so too does the referee. And Quentin Lula Tagagai is very close to that line. And there's still tackles in the bag. Pownall goes back to the middle. Jacks now helps it on. Here comes Bussey.
No penalty, Jordan!
A loose forward.
Release!
Held up, they're dancing him around, slowing him down. The wrestling technique's coming
Gotta be
in.
a
Held on
penalty.
too long. Held on too long. So it's another set of 6. And what's the old adage? Penalty, try. So is this the set that Toronto make the breakthrough? A third successive back-to-back set. Out it goes. Wallace with a pass away. Hull really being tested here.
It's a great test for both teams. Toronto's attack and Hull's defence.
Energy being drawn from the tank. Wallace puts it back inside. Emmett thought he was over a moment ago. Clouds are some of the course. Not quite that close this time. Bezic, steady head. Throws it back again to Wallace. Wallace takes them off, and Wallace is over. The referee backs away, and there's a little moment of history when they ask you down the years who was the first man to score a try for the Toronto Wolfpack. Put the name Blake Wallace in lights. Over he goes, and Toronto have an early lead.
Well, you were right, Dave. Penalty, try. The old rugby league adage. Playing out the back. Wallace going at the line, sees a hole and says, I can get there, and does get there.
Tell us a little bit about Blake Wallace, ex-Illawarra Cutters, isn't he, from the New South Wales competition?
Paul Rowley's first signing on the back of a recommendation from Shane Millard. Remember Shane Millard that used to play over here in the NRL? So this kid's playing reserve grade in Australia. Really deserves a shot. See what you think, and certainly paying his way there, isn't he? Nice kid, good player.
Well, that puts a bit of pep into their game, doesn't it? I'm sure Eric Perez is dancing a little jig somewhere down there.
It's been exciting the way both teams have gone about their work. I mean, Hull have had to defend 3 sets on their own line now, and that's difficult for anybody, as you quite rightly pointed out. Toronto have been having to do the defence on their own line. Did Tui Reviver get there? Clearly didn't get there, and on the back of a couple of penalties, the Wolfpack go ahead.
And it's the Hull boy who kicks the first goal for Toronto at Hull, Craig Hall, and 6-0 Toronto lead. But he's got some fast heels here, hasn't he, Blake Wallace?
Yeah, he's got some wheels, and if he sees a hole, I think he ticks the hole outside lane, and Snead trying to come up to close the play down. He can't help. Wallace sees a hole, he's going to take it.
And at this stage of the season, that whole defence is blowing out of its backside, isn't it?
Of course it is.
At that
Both
stage.
teams, they've had no contact, and I can only, for our viewers, it's the first hit out so hard, your lungs explode, is like burning, and your legs go to pieces. All the pre-season you think, oh, this is the fittest I've ever been, and then all of a sudden 3 blokes in yellow jumpers smash you all over the place and say, wow, where did that come from?
And this is the only game of the year in which a side will go out that's not carrying injuries because of the physical nature of rugby league for our Canadian audience. From here on in, there'll be someone out there with injuries. There might be several players out there with injuries because of the physical contact week on week.
Yeah, it's a brutal game, and it's a collision game, and there's lots of sticking plasters on. There's sticking plasters on some players at the start of the year. You know, it's so brutal in the off-season. So much admiration for both sets and both outfits.
Emmett, a little pass away. It's taken on here by Bussy. I don't think we've seen an interchange so far. A little early for that anyway. Only 40 minutes gone. As it's slung across to Rhys Jacks, who puts the ball high. It's a tester, but it's taken by Talanoa. And he will make it back almost to the 20-metre mark from where he'll start. And a penalty. Oh, that's frustration from Toronto's point of view. Very first tackle giving a penalty away, but great for Hull to lift them here.
Yeah, they were too long in the tackle, clearly. The referees trying to keep them apart, trying to get the game flowing. When you spend too much time in there trying to grapple and have that amount of wrestle that they have, I think that's a deserved penalty.
There was a great line from Eric Perez when he was chatting to Aaron before the match here today, saying that actually Hull FC is older than Canada. They're 2 years older than Canada, Hull FC. So there's a little bit of history on both sides, one geographical, the other from a rugby league point of view. And it's the side with a rugby league pedigree that's bringing it forward here. Watts gets the pass away, that's good. Taken on by Snead, quick hands away as well. And suddenly there's a chance for Fanua on that right-hand side. Looks for the offload, has given it away. And Toronto come back up with possession again here. So they've done well.
Liam Kay, the left winger for the Toronto team, then took a chance, tried to come in and stop the play. Fanua got on the outside, tried to take somebody on the outside, was shepherded into the corner by Quinton Lala Togagai, and they came up with the ball, the Wolfpack.
It was a big hit. I think that was Liam Watts has just busted his nose in trying to, if it's Josh Griffin who's busted his nose in trying to make that tackle. He's come off the worst. But Toronto's still with it. This is Emmett.
That's 4.
Jake Emmett started his career at St Helens, Welsh international, of course. Laithwaite down this right-hand side. QLT. he hangs them in the air, his passes, doesn't he, QLT? You've got to be sharp if you're playing on his outside. 6th tackle coming up, so this is going to be a kick from Jacks. Up it goes. Kay is trying to put pressure on, but it's a great leap by Fanua. And off they go. Suddenly defence into attack, and Fanua can stretch the legs here. They're grappling at him, but off he goes. It's a foot race to the corner. QLT across, but Fanua will win the race. In fact, it's Kelly. It's young Kelly who's got there. Albert Kelly on that right-hand side. Fabulous stuff from Albert Kelly, who's making his name with Hull FC having moved across from Hull Kingston Rovers. But that was thrilling from start to finish.
Unbelievable try. Length of the field try. First it's Fanua that climbs and manages the off-ball to Tuivavi, who keeps his feet going, keeps his body going, and Albert Kelly, wow, that's why they've gone for him. He's gone. And he takes some tracking down the side. It's just a foot race, he just wheels. QLT can't even get there. Fantastic try from Albert Kelly.
Some pace and a chase, wow. Just a little leap at the end. Well, he'll be happy to settle into his new club, won't he, with that kind of a score. Plenty of NRL experience with Cronulla and Gold Coast as well.
He'll need the walk back. It's a fair effort, wasn't it? It's a great try. You look at what Hull did there on the back of a heck of a lot of defence, and Fanua, just you think he's gone to the ground. He flicks the ball up, great skill too with Varvey, comes off his right foot, makes half a break, and then Kelly just shows the wheels.
Referee will stop the clock here. Mark Sneed with that very strange kicking style that he has. Let's see if he's developed this at all in the off-season. No, there he goes. Starts with his back to where he wants to kick it. He's 180 degrees away.
I reckon if you were finding the hardest way ever to kick a ball, this would be it. He's pretty good at it, isn't he?
If you were a kicking coach and looked at this, you'd say, look, son, don't do that. But then if you looked at his stats, you'd say, oh, carry on doing that, because he can kick them, and he very nearly kicked that, hit the upright. So it remains a lead for Toronto by 6 points to 4. 18 minutes play.
Time back off.
Kelly's a hero.
The spirit of this game's good. Wasn't that good football, though? Length of the field, wow.
Wait there, Craig. He's getting Josh.
Has he got the try of the season?
It is so far, isn't it? It is so far.
Let's show it on, guys.
Wolf
Give
whistles
yourself a
are
yard.
here just because Josh Griffin has just replacing his shirt. He smashed his nose earlier in trying to make a tackle, and a lot of blood all over his old shirt, so he's had to get a spare one out.
Well, look, guys.
Get cleaned up.
Let's show it going low, Jake, Adam.
And here come Hull again.
Move, Adam!
Green, who's leading the way.
Go, well done, guys.
Out of dummy half, it's taken. Some hard work by Watts. Just beyond the 20-metre mark.
It's all right.
Back comes Jordan Thompson.
Jake, come in, release! Wait here.
Seems to have been around for years now, Jordan Thompson, doesn't he? Maybe for Cassidy 6 or 7 years ago. Taken by QLT. Will we see some of his flash footwork? Thompson's up there to make the tackle.
Release, Jordan!
With a little help.
With this 20-minute mark, he'll start telling on both teams. Because it's new, it's the start of the season, so we shall start seeing people not being in the right places and a few heavy legs, so the interchange will play its part today, but so will the element of physicality that this game just you cannot avoid in rugby league.
Hands out!
There's Kay.
Release, that's 4, wait.
Who, just like Andrew Dixon, who plays in that left second rower's position, they both have a top knot, don't they? They both have this
release, that's lost.
Hairstyle which makes them look very familiar. Little chip forward by Wallace, searching for the corner, hoping it stays in play, hoping to make Shaw do some work he doesn't have to do. And the new rule here, Brian.
I knew you were waiting for one of those new rules. 7 tackles.
7 tackles.
0.
So this one is a 0 tackle
plus 6.
Yeah. That's still 7 tackles.
Yeah.
It's the only time in mathematics that 0 plus 6 equals 7. But it does in rugby league. There's a lot of things that don't seem to make sense.
I got it all of them.
0. Go.
So that's a 0 tackle. So here comes the first. Just to try and kind of make it more of a handling game, really, isn't it? That's what it's designed for. They've had it in the NRL now for a couple of years, haven't they?
I think it's a good rule for the simple reason is it punishes poor kicking. So if you've got a negative kicker that just wants to kick the ball the length of the field to try and get down the other end, then you deserve an extra tackle if you're an offensive team for me.
This is Kelly skipping in. And the other thing as well, the other new rule is that you can't put your foot in touch and drag the ball out anymore, can you?
That's good, Adam, well done.
And get that 7 tackles. That would
particularly in the dead ball.
Oh, that's a great handoff, great little offload, and here comes Jamie Shaw, who runs rings around those Toronto defenders to score. Well, the build-up there was sensational. The offload, the skills involved, and then Shaw with the footwork to make the most of it.
Well, if he gets in the clear, you ain't going to stop him, and it's all about the prowess of their middle people here, or the physicality of the middle. I think we find an offload from Watts, is it? Might be hardly, can't remember. Shaw's on the end, and he's quick feet, little steps, and fast movements, and once he's in the clear, as I said, 5 metres either side, and it's just too hard.
It's Green, this, isn't it?
Chris Green, yeah.
Wow, terrific.
They got Green and they got Watts, who played a lot for last season, but that offload is very difficult to defend.
So a good try for Jamie Shaw, the former bricklayer.
Yes.
Remember, once upon a time we were wondering whether he was ever going to get a go in rugby league.
Get a 0.
And then he made his debut against Wakefield. I think he scored. He scored a hat-trick.
Take a bit,
He certainly made a big impact in that first game against Wakefield, and everyone thought, wow, here we go. But just the way that rugby league works with the under-20s and all the rest of it,
Yeah,
there was a
fine.
danger. He wasn't playing, was he? And took his time to break into the side, but now he has over the last couple of years.
I think we can show a few examples of that, how we need to persevere with these kids, because he was on the radar for 2 or 3 years, and behind the scenes people were trying to attract him to their club because he wasn't getting a goal. And Lee Radford took over and clearly from day one said, no, this is going to be my fullback.
Hull FC have a lead, which can be edged a little further in their favour if he can kick it here, Sneed, and he has. And the chance of Sneed in the background from the crowd here as Hull take a 10-6 lead. And we've got a couple of new players on, but this is the try.
Danny,
Great
every kick
effort
off.
taken in by
Every kick
Green,
off,
great
time to
offload, and then that running stop.
Send to you, Steve.
But we look at the excessive or the flamboyant styles of both teams about moving the football, but that was route one. That was Chris Green up the middle after Liam Watts found a pass and an offload to
Time to run, Danny.
the flying Jamie Shaw.
Well, just
Hold on,
looking
guys,
down,
that's
Crossley and Fleming have both come on for Toronto. Bussey's certainly
No
come off. I'm not
penalties,
sure
go
who
more, Steve.
the other player who's come off. I'm sure we'll identify that as the match goes on. But a fresher pair of legs down the middle. And here they are in harness, those two new fellas, Dan Fleming and Steve Crossley.
Steve Crossley, up we
Both
get.
have a little bit of Bradford
Good work,
pedigree
Steve, well done.
in their rugby league past as well, having played for that club.
That's 2. Danny Fleming.
Couple of
stand
tackles
up.
gone, 4 to go. Hull find themselves creeping towards the halfway line, having scored back-to-back tries. Thompson throws it left. Further left it goes. Shaw's involved in the line. Step back inside from Talanoa.
Going to see you later then from Talanoa, didn't he?
Big
With a
one.
big offload.
Looking for the offload again here. Watts off the floor. The referee says play on. So here comes Shaw again.
on,
Those
come
dancing
through.
feet
That's
of
all
his. Thompson to Kelly. Kelly goes wide right. Step back on the inside, and Kelly's there to take the pass, but he's also there to take the tackle with Bezic.
Good football from Hull, isn't it?
Bob Bezic, stand up.
Bob Bezic stand up is the cry from the referee. How old is he now? 32, Bob Bezic. He's a good boy. He's got some real experience, hasn't he? Wigan, Witness, Halifax and Lee. He's also your strength and conditioning coach as well, isn't he?
He is too. I'm doing a really good job.
At last, Steve Crossley, stand up.
5 gone, 1 to go. De Hull go aerial here to test out either winger or fullback. Back it comes to Kelly.
Okay,
Kelly does put it
committee.
high. And he might have been taking a little leg. QLT's underneath it, but he's let it bounce. Where's this one going? The referee says play on, and another 6 tackles because it got a Toronto touch, and the touch judge is on, and it's going to be a penalty for Hull as well here.
I thought they were coming in.
So I don't know if you caught that, but a shoulder charge on the kicker. That's what they're given.
Let's have a look. Did he get his arms around him? He's got a point. Got to try not wrap your arms around him. Have a word with him.
Quick tap and off they go. And a smash and grab raid on the Toronto line has seen them over. Wow, there was simply no stopping him there, was there? Absolutely battered his way in. And it's a third Hull try without repeat.
This is the physicality of Maya Vanoa. Little short side play. Hadley finds Vanoa on the fly, and you've got to take more than the kitchen sink to try and stop that guy at that kind of speed from that kind of distance. So here's a salutary lesson for Wallace and for Worthington and to Dixon. You've got to get in front of him and lower your equipment and drive him backwards, but that's too hard to stop at that distance.
Well, we talk about the physicality of this whole side, and it was there in terrific evidence at Tongan International. Great Wembley memories, hasn't he, from that Challenge Cup final last year?
I think he's had a bit of a beard trim as well. It's pretty symmetrical, isn't it?
We could all do with one of those from time to time. So Mark Sneed is here again with an awkward looking kicking style and a chance for his second at goal. Having hit the post once, successful with his second and successful with his third. So 16 points to 6. Hull FC now lead. 25 minutes play. comes Fui. Did he feel the ground shake, Brian?
What a great name. And what a good player. And a great fella.
Fui Moi Moi is on the field. And he's a real impact player, isn't he? There you see him in the number 8. Kind of an impact he'll make here. We'll have to wait and see. He doesn't do a lot of minutes these days, does he? But the minutes he does do, he'll often leave an impression.
Go. Come on, Fui, something quicker.
He throws it left. Griffin trying to find a way through, but Hall is there to pull him down.
Well, he made his good meters there, Griffin, didn't he? Picked out Craig Hall to run and try and carry down the field. Getting their arms free, these Hull front rowers, so that's something that the Toronto team has to be careful on.
Good yardage being made and offloads being produced. It's keeping Hull buzzing, and it's making it even harder for Toronto. That's swept back in play by Talanoa. Oh, and it's still alive here. The tackle. Well, I thought the referee had shouted, had counted 4 there.
What's it now? 4 again? We're allowed to make mistakes early in the year.
Watts to Thompson.
Okay.
Across it goes to Sneed. Caught at his feet by Washbrook, who flicks it back on the inside again. Hull still searching. Toronto still working. 5 gone, 6 tackle coming up. Here comes the chip by Sneed, looking to measure it. Kay's underneath it. The ball has gone to ground. And play on, says the referee. So suddenly there's a chance here for Wallace to break inside that Hull half.
Good tackle. Smash him into next week. Run, just take the meters.
So here they go, 40 metres away. Back inside for Wallace. Here comes Jacks. Across the line to Pownall. Craig Hall, his centre, is standing on his outside. Hall's defence has shuffled across. 12 minutes and a half remaining. Toronto, having scored first, find themselves behind, but are working hard. Here's Fleming.
3. Let it up, Liam.
Welsh international. Bezic, the Irish international. Back it comes to Jacks. QLT trying to stand up the man ahead of him, Griffin, but Griffin does well to hang on. Still a couple of tackles to go. Jacks again, inside for Fleming. Fleming with a big urgent surge and a penalty.
He rattled his teeth on that one.
Right in front of the sticks, and on tackle 5. Neither the time nor the place to give one away.
Here's Fui's time for you, Woodsy.
Bezic with a tap. Fui Moi Moi. Oh, he passes. Disappoints everybody who's looking for the big impact. And it goes to QLT. Well, one over the top might have put Kay in at the corner, but he went short, and Toronto come up short. Back to the middle again. Here's Crossley. Held up by those willing Hull defenders. Still tackles in the bag, plenty of them. 4 or 5 yet. Fui Moi Moi!
There you go.
He's over to score! Mark Maid, the big fella, gets the ground bouncing and just sweeps away everyone who's in front of him. And Toronto are back on the score sheet.
Yeah, you can hear the howls wolving. What would I say? Howls howling. The wolves howling. That'd be a poor part of it. Fui Moi Moi on the scene. His first carry. Came up with a pass play. Didn't come the second time. He saw the hole. He knew where he was going.
And the howls are moving.
And the howls are moving. There he goes, moving along. Try and stop that one. Bit similar to the Fanoa try in relation for the Hull at the other end. You can't stop that kind of speed and that kind of size and that kind of leg action from there. Well done, Fui.
Jordan Thompson must have looked up and thought that the number 8 double-decker bus was running at him. Never mind the number 8 Toronto Wolfpack player. And Fui Moi Moi. If you ever have a look on YouTube and have a look at his clash with Sam Burgess. Fui Moi Moi, Sam Burgess, good heavens.
That was box office, wasn't it?
That was at Odsal, wasn't it? I think Odsall's still reverberating, isn't it, to this very day.
Box office.
Hall puts the kick over, and so Toronto stay very much in touch. 16 points to 12, half an hour played.
Well, this is all about Route 1, isn't it? Fleming's the foil, Fui sees the hole. Jamie Shaw wasn't having any of it, was he? He wasn't going to get there. And Jordan Thompson, as you quite rightly say, thought, wow, how do I stop this?
Stay on, guys.
It's a good game.
It is, isn't it? It is for an
Hold
early
up.
season, well, pre-season game. Both sides still working
Make
towards
sure we
full
load,
fitness.
Jordan.
They'll be a long way short. Give it another 4 or 5 weeks when they're into the season
10
proper.
boys.
They'll be much sharper.
Okay, well done.
They'll be feeling much better about themselves at this stage of a game.
Shoulder. 2.
But they've provided us
stand
with
up.
some eye-catching
Ready?
scores so far.
Go.
And Toronto are playing their part here. Back towards the middle comes Laithwaite.
He's a good player, isn't he, Laithwaite?
He's an interesting character, isn't
with
he?
injuries.
Him and Wheeler. I mean, they're good signings, aren't they, for Toronto? They've had, as you said, Laithwaite, I think, missed the whole of last season, didn't he, because of a broken leg?
Danny Washbrook, stand up. Ready?
Gary Wheeler's
Clearly,
over.
Gary Wheeler not featuring today, but he's on the road to recovery.
Okay. Last. Stand up.
It's a carry by Dixon. 6 tackle coming up. They're going down that blind side. It's threaded through by Wallace, and again it'll be a 0 tackle back on the 20.
Just a bit heavy on the kicking game, Blake Wallace at the moment. Fine
Centre of
touch
the
there,
pitch,
that's what
Albert.
pre-season's about, finding that touch,
0.
get it to stay in field, and all of a sudden you hand over the ball in right parts of the field.
Release, Bowie. Wait here, Steve.
This
Go.
is Masimbashi Matongo, who's on the field. We have seen him in the first team before. I think he made his debut against Wigan a couple of years ago. Zimbabwe came to the UK age of 5 and only took up rugby league when he was 15. But you listen to Lee Radford talking about him, and he gives him big raps.
Steve Crossley, stand.
Massimo Tongo, I think we'll be seeing plenty of him down the years as well. Here he is on the outside of Thompson, but Thompson's going to try and skirt through himself.
Move, Steve. Go.
Washbrook going wide, and a little flick pass again.
Oh,
Very nearly
go.
opening up that Toronto
I think.
defence.
Did he get hurt?
Thought you were injured.
No, he's all right.
6 tackle. No, it wasn't. I think the referee has put his arm up because he was going to stop the clock. And here comes Matongo. Once more.
And for a shoulder charge back here on Bob Bezic. Off the ball.
Shoulder charge by Bob
here.
Bezic. And again, because we've got a lot of people who'll be watching for the first time, Torontonians will be watching for the first time, you're not allowed to hit with the shoulder unless you've got the arms involved as well. If the arms are up, and you're trying to grab hold of a man and you hit him with the shoulder, that's fine, but you can't just barge in just using the shoulder anymore, can you? That was outlawed 2 or 3 years ago.
So the shoulder charge is out, just for clarity there.
Yeah. Was that what I said?
Good work, Steve. Well done.
Here comes Washbrook.
Been a long way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here comes Shaw. Steve gets it out again. The pass over the top. Kay dive, couldn't get a touch. And into the hands of Fanoa it goes. His second try of the afternoon. Less spectacular than his earlier one, but it means just the same. Another 4 points on the board. 20 points to 12. Hold down lead.
Yeah, the execution of their skill was good there. Liam Kay again taking a punt on the fringe to try and stop the play. A bit passive there. Blake Wallace needs to work a little bit harder to put the pass under pressure, but for Noah. Missed from there. Worthington gets attracted in towards the centre, which is Liam Kay on his own with 2 players. He has to take the punt and didn't make the punt right.
Six minutes of the half remaining. He's on a hat-trick, Mahe Fanoa. And Mark Sneed looking to add the 2 again if he can. Interesting few years for Mark Sneed, hasn't it? Appeared with Castleford at Wembley back in 2014 and moved across to Hull FC, and of course had that winning influential performance at Wembley last August. His kicking, his percentage success, such a critical factor in this Hull FC story, and he swings it in from the touchline again. Has he got it? No, he's just pulled it wide, or pushed it wide. So it remains 20 points to 12 with 5 minutes left to play, Brian Noble.
Yeah, a good game this first half, and this is on the back of just getting the numbers on the right way for Hull, and
Jordan.
a few poor reads on the fringe for the
rolling.
Wolfpack. Is for Noah a walk-in for him.
You sort your tend out, Dad. Stay on side. Hold up.
So Hall sends it skyward,
Right, make sure we're on. Go low, Dan.
and here comes Motongo again.
There's your boy, he's got some good strength, hasn't he? Good leg speed, and he's doesn't want to go down either.
I think he's a smart lad, he's a trainee accountant as well, so he's a smart lad.
You should better count the numbers then.
Yeah. Well, they're just dropping off the tackles a little bit here.
Steve Crossley, release!
Giving a chance for a few more yards to be gained.
Okay.
Shaw's involved, out left it comes. Here comes Talanoa, cutting back on the inside.
Okay. Okay.
Washbrook just teasing the defence by holding the ball in his hand, looking to get it away if he can, but he can't, and Griffin now takes it on once more.
At last.
And the fifth tackle is the one that puts him down. 40 metres away from where he wants to be. Sixth tackle coming up, so up it goes from Sneed off that left foot of his. Kay's underneath it. It's a simple catch in the end, despite those thundering hooves coming towards him.
But never simple when you got Tunavarvi and Vanoa picking you up and driving you back another 15 metres. It's another pass on there for Lathwaite, got himself in shape.
Go.
There's Bezic, still working hard in that dummy half position, which is arguably aerobically the most difficult position on the field, isn't it? You've always got to be there, or 90% of the time you've got to be there.
Come on, Jordan, hold
Keep
that
following the play.
Jordan, stay out.
Dixon
Okay, 4. Move,
had Kay on the outside. Never really the
4.
opportunity to pass. QLT picks up, and back it comes from Wallace. Barged down the middle
Release
by
now!
Crossley.
Last. Wait this 10, Danny.
Sixth tackle coming up. Toronto still deep inside their own half. Looking for something good here from the kick of Wallace, right down the middle.
Got to get your line correct now. Your kick chase shape. This kid's a dangerous player, Shaw.
1. Move!
Good defensive play though by Toronto. They got up there in numbers, and as Brian said, in line. It's back with Talanoa, crabbing across the face of that defence, but finding no way through, no purchase on that occasion.
They've got some great physicality about them, haven't they, Hull?
Okay,
Here's the
stay
next
out,
one.
Steve.
Wider still it goes, but Toronto
That's 3.
doing their job
Move
at
now.
the moment. The team in black
Wait here, wait.
defending
Okay, play on.
ardently, albeit on the halfway line at the moment. Kelly throws it high, hammered down the middle
4.
again here.
Steve Crossley, stand up. Wait
The
here.
referee wants them to stand up. It's Brad Fash who's on the field. Oh, and that's a knock-on by Jordan
2
Thompson.
knock-ons, guys.
We haven't seen too much of that from both teams, have we? The quality of the ball control has been good, and the fluency's been good, and I think that's the first cold drop we've seen in the whole half.
So head and feet here. Jordan Thompson a little frustrated with himself
Sure
by what he's
get
given
inside.
away. As we mentioned, Brad Fashon, he was, I think he had a spell at Lee
Make
last
sure
year,
heads
didn't
in
he?
properly,
Brad Fash?
Jamie. Bob, head in properly, head in properly.
Young player
Stay
coming
on,
through.
Jordan. Out.
Jacks, Reece Jacks. I think the name sounds familiar. Riley
Okay.
Jacks, his brother, is making big noises at Melbourne in the NRL.
1. Albert Kelly, release.
We tried to sign Riley.
Good work,
Partner, his
Albert.
brother
Good
is.
speed.
Dixon,
Quite pull it off.
2. Movement.
Bezic,
Go. Okay, that's okay.
taken in hard by James Lathwaite. Lathwaite does well to pop it off, and Fui Moi Moi was waiting, and the leg speed is good as he gets into his stride straight away. And then a bit more strength to bounce them off and put them within 10 metres of this whole life. Bezic at dummy half. Crossley now driving in again and carrying all that weight and purpose. It took 4 of them to drag him down. Close to the line. Bezic waits. The little general at dummy half will go himself and spins.
Once he's held up, great tackle.
Fantastic defensive work that, wasn't it?
Jamie Shaw.
Jamie Shaw, yeah.
On the 10,
But
Bob.
they go back. They still have possession, held up. They have to go back 10 metres and carry on the tackle count. There's still a few left here. A leap in the air by Wallace, and left to Kay, and Kay runs into a cul-de-sac in the first instance, but that's a clever little kick by him, just a little overcooked.
And if you've got one criticism of the team in black, is the end product on the kicking side of things, probably not quite
0
there,
when you're
but
ready, Jamie.
not too much of a worry.
Okay.
So a tap restart here, and to reiterate, the 7 tackles from here, normally 6, but 7 from here, but they're not going to reach it because the half-time hooter sounds. A 20 points to 12 lead for Hull in that first half. But Brian Noble watching on with your expert analysers head on, as well as your Torontonian head on. What do you make of that first half?
I thought it was a terrific half of rugby league. I thought Hull showed their physical prowess and the talent they have in their ranks for individually, and looked good with their shape, but no less exciting with the Toronto team, who are 2 divisions below, showing what the prowess that they've got. Maybe they can clean up their kicking game. You'd have to say Hull deserved their lead in relation to that individual prowess, but a very even game.
Well, it all started on a very bright note when Blake Wallace scored the very first Torontonian try in the 11th minute to make a little bit of history for himself, and he's now downstairs speaking with Aaron Murphy.
Blake Wallace joins us now, pitch side. First ever try scored for the Toronto Wolfpack. How does that feel?
Yeah, it was good, mate. It was good. Good to get one away, but boys, credit to them. You know, they're hanging in there and sticking to what we need. We know that works, so if we keep doing that, you know, the points will come.
Aside from the personal accolade, tell us about the pace and what you're coming up against here in the Challenge Cup champions.
Yeah, mate, they're a big physical side, you know, and they play off a quick play of the ball, so they're going to keep coming. You know, we just got to keep turning up in D and hang in there with them.
Keys and what you're looking forward to in the second half, Blake?
We've got to control the footy, try and win the ruck in defence. You know, they're getting a few quick play of the balls on us, making it hard, but if we can control the ruck, we're hanging with them. It's, you know, it's a credit to us, so yeah.
Blake Wallace, thank you, and good luck in the second half.
Appreciate
Cheers.
it.
And Sheik as well. He's a polite boy, isn't he? So it's been eye-catching. It has been times very muscular as well. But it's been a very good start from Toronto's point of view. But Hull lead 20 points to 12 at half-time. Well, it's been a decent start for the Toronto Wolfpack, hasn't it? 20 points to 12. They trail at half-time, but they were the first to score through Blake Wallace and, of course, that memorable Fui moi moi try as well. They've been caught a little flat-footed at times, maybe, with the extra physicality and a little bit of the pace out wide from Hull FC. But Brian, I think Paul Rowley will be reasonably satisfied with what he's seen so far.
The attention to detail that he has and the competitive spirit, I think he'll be a little bit irked about a couple of things, but I'd be thrilled if I was him in relation to how they well have competed, the Wolfpack, against let's not forget they finished in the top 3 last year, this whole team in the Super League, and won the Challenge Cup. So, and the side they put out is a reflection on the respect that they hold the Toronto team in, so that they've done really, really well, the Wolfpack. But we've seen the quality of the whole team as well, haven't we, and why they're at where they're at.
I think we're going to get a few changes to the whole side in the second half, aren't we? It's that the nature of the game. This pre-season friendly, Lee Radford's obviously looking to get as many young players, as much experience as possible. But look, from the Toronto point of view, what would you be looking for in the second half now?
Well, a little bit more of the same. Keep the same shape and structure. A few things to fix up on the fringe defensively and in and around the middle. When you're playing a team like Hull with Green and Watts and all the big people, and then the Islanders on the fringes, you know, the people like Fanoa and Tuamavave, and they're a big team. So and then you've got Shaw on the back of that, so you've got to be really on your mettle mentally to cope with what they throw at you physically. Let's have some more of that and see if we can find some rhythm for the Wolfpack themselves and show their true prowess offensively. I think it's been a really, really good hit out for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's impressed you most? From a Toronto point of view, who's really impressed you so far today?
Wow, big question. I'm a big fan of all these people that never get a mention, like Bezic. I think Laithwaite looks well on the fringe when he's come onto the ball. I think the middles in general look like fluid. I think the team, I think we've got to give credit to the coaching staff in respect. The team looks fluid.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of precision needed on the fringes to create those 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s that most coaches are looking for. But in the main, I think they'll be pleased. If I was looking for an improvement in the Wolfpack, probably the kicking game and really how they're finishing sets and maybe their kick defence game, because we saw 2 handovers or 2 transitional plays where we saw Albert Kelly go zoom down the sideline, and then we saw, you know, on the catch and the recovery in relation to when we have kicks and defensive kicks.
Well, let's see Albert Kelly going zoom down the sidelines again here. These are the tries from the first half, but of course the first try scored was Blake Williams. Really backed himself there, didn't he?
Had to back himself. If you're half and you see half a hole that close to the line, just go for it, and he did. And that's great strength as well, the speed to get over the line and score the first try for the Wolfpack.
Yeah. I think Jake Emmett had come very close, hadn't he, in the set before. But this is the length of the fielder here. This is Albert Kelly's.
It's those 3 players. Well, what about the catch for Noah? We didn't say that. And then the footwork and And that's the transitional aspect of what we're talking about. Once this kid gets in the clear.
Tumavadi did well as well.
Absolutely, came off his right foot and his left foot and found the pass for Kelly. So that's a world-class try in many respects, and hard to defend when you're prepared to play like that in relation to the defensive catch, which it was in the end.
He's going to be a good signing, isn't he, for Hull this year? You would have thought if he keeps his focus on the rugby league field. This is the second try. A couple of minutes later, Jamie Shaw.
Yeah, and this is all about Shaw and Chris Green with the offload there. He's got a couple of disappointed people, but he did that the whole of last year and would do it against most teams that he plays against. He's quick, he's elusive, and once you get a bit of space one-on-one, you're not going to catch him. But full credit to Green, hanging the ball out there and then flick passing it to Shaw, who shows us all the things he was showing the whole of last year. Brilliant try, good try from Hull.
So that was 10 points to 6, and another try. I think they scored 3 tries in the space of about 7 minutes in total. A real period of dominance. The penalty quickly taken, and Fanua.
Well, this is just a concentration one on the part of the Wolfpack, but you got Mike Fanua coming in at that speed. Do your best. I don't know what other defensive play you've got. You've got to really aim up, and you've got to get in front. And unfortunately, they didn't. So that leads to Fanua, but it's all about being about that physicality there, hasn't it?
And you talk about physicality, and we heralded his arrival, and he was unstoppable. He's unstoppable from that range.
Get our viewers to do a list of who they don't want to see coming out of the one-on-one. The first one will probably Fanua, and the second will be Fui. So good on you, Fui. That's a great try in its own sight. People like to see the big men in this game. That's why it's such a good game. They love the collision.
I think he'd only been on the field for about 4 minutes, and then this try again from Fanua.
And that's
again,
getting the numbers wrong on the back of the Wolfpack, but Fanua, that's great play from Hull. They recognise the numbers. Washbrook finds a play out the back to Shaw, who finds Sneed, and then it's a 3-on-2 on the fringes, and Liam Kay has to make a decision, and unfortunately can't come up with the play, so Fanua gets a walk in.
Yeah, but Toronto is still in there.
Brilliant.
I mean, if this was a competitive game, 8 points behind at half-time at Hull is not a bad position to be in. It's not a competitive game, but they've still got a real chance of this second half. Real confidence for the second half.
Everybody should be, if you're a Wolfpack fan, you should be thrilled with what's going on. You can clearly see that they've got a plan. The plan is working sometimes, but you know, when you're playing a team like Hull, you have to recognise that they're going to have their say in the game, especially here. I think they're pretty much invincible here, and we saw that first team aspect of what they've got, and you know, you have to be very, very good. This is a fabulous game of rugby league in relation to outlining patterns and things, and finding a blueprint for your own team and making sure that, well, these are the bits we can improve. But I'd be more than thrilled if I was Coach Rowley. Yeah,
and James Laithwaite, I mean, we mentioned him before, and what a great 40 minutes that has been for him. Sat the entire season out at Warrington. He was injured mid-season the year before, wasn't he, with the bad leg break. Sat the entire season out last year. He's a lovely bloke, and he's coming to this Toronto side, and he's had 40 minutes, which will do him a world of good.
Absolutely fantastic for him. When you've had that run of injuries in relation to any game, you know, it can be soul destroying. Gary Wheeler is another case in point. He hopefully be back on the field in a couple of weeks, and let's hope he has a run, because I think everybody at St Helens and Warren identified the talent that he's got as well, so he just needs a run without injury. Richard Whiting went sick today, so he's to add to the mix, and a few others. So yeah, I'm thrilled for James Laithwaite. All the end of the day, all you want are good players. We love to see good players. That's why we like to watch this whole team, because there are good players on the show, world-class players who are going to excite us at the end of the day.
It's been a decent game. I mean, a lot of times you turn up at pre-season games and it's a bit of home, but it's been a decent game, a really decent game.
I saw a lot of worse games last year. They were full-on competitive games. This is a good game of football.
Absolutely. And just to tell us what happens from here on in, because the season for Toronto starts in early March in earnest with the league. You've obviously got the Challenge Cup in February as well, but what else have you got lined up between now and then?
Well, we had a game against Wigan. Unfortunately, the dates were changed on that, so we've had to put that aside. So we're pretty much going to do in that first Challenge Cup game on the 26th of February as our next hit out. So with 3 more weeks of preparation here, we'll try to find some competitive nature to that. If we can get half 8 out, we were just a bit worried about the strength of our squad and what we could cope with in relation to who we played and when we played them. So this game is very, very important for us. So 80 minutes for all of our top squaddies, so we can get all the individual assessments and all the team assessments out of the way and really ramp up for that first Challenge Cup game, whoever that may be. We don't know who that is yet.
No, and in terms of the squad that you've got now, is that it? Because I mean, there's 1 or 2 not playing today. Gary Wheeler's an obvious one who's not playing today, for example. Is this it? Is this the squad that you're going to, or are you still looking at the potential of signing new players?
Well, we'll always look for the right amount of quality in the right areas. We've got the League One this year, clearly. If something came along that wanted to go League One, and if we're good enough to get in the Championship, and then subsequently if we're good enough to get out of that, because the Championship's a fantastic division now. Wow, try and get out of that one.
Toulouse are going to find that this year, aren't they?
Absolutely. Then we're always on the lookout for quality and players to sign, and we've recognised a few weaknesses in the squad, and we'll be working on those over the next couple of weeks.
Well, we're just having a look. The teams are out. Well, the Toronto team is out at the moment. We're still waiting for Hull FC. As we mentioned, there's going to be wholesale changes for the whole side in this second half. And we can see there that Luke Menzies is on for the second half as well, as far as Toronto are concerned. But let's hear now from Simon Finnegan, the Toronto assistant coach, who's with Aaron.
Wolfpack assistant coach Simon Finnegan here with us on the touchline. Tell us about your thoughts of that first 40 minutes of rugby here.
Oh, it's a pretty close game. I mean, we start off pretty good and we've come back, but you'd expect them to. They're a good quality side, and defensively we need to be a little bit better around the ruck and things like that, and probably be a bit more braver in attack, but we're not far away, and I'm sure we will be better in the second half.
Well, that's it. What's the key points here to try and get a result?
Oh, them things I've just said. We need to tighten up a bit more defensively and then play to our structures in attack, and we should be all right.
Thanks for taking the time to join us. Good luck the rest of the way, Coach.
Thank you. Cheers.
Back upstairs to you guys.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll be hearing plenty throughout the year, I'm sure, from Simon and from Paul Rowley and Brian Noble alongside us as well. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from one or two other characters as well throughout the year. Looking forward to this season, and just to reiterate, it is live here on Premier Sport, all those league games, home and away for Toronto, and it's not the only rugby league on Premier Sports as well, you know. But if you are joining us for the first time today, the NRL on this channel, very often 3, 4, 5 games a week, live, and the back chat programme as well, when we talk about all the stuff that's going on in and around the game. But Toronto have possession at the start of this second half. It's taken in by Luke Menzies, who gets his first touch of the game. And Brian Noble, what are you expecting in this second half?
Well, much of the same, but just tighten things up, tighten up the execution skill, tighten up your decision making, and great breaks early on.
Oh, terrific. Here comes Worthington, who's got support. QLT is that man in support. Overrun by defenders in the end. Well, they find themselves in a wonderful position here, Toronto. It's Fui Moi Moi who drives it in. Old meets young there, because Matongo got in his way, and I think young Musimbashi Matongo is hurt here as well.
Welcome to Fui world.
Yeah. That's what happens when you stand in front of him and Fui's looking around as if to say, what's up? What's happened? What's happened?
Good carry.
So a penalty right in front of the sticks.
Was he given a penalty, or did he just stop because of the injury?
Just stopped because of the injury, hasn't he? The whole side in the second half, by the way, Norton at full-back, Michaels Rawsthorne, young Nick Rawsthorne.
Got him from Halifax, didn't they?
Yeah, he was at Leeds originally. Halifax. I think he was here last season, wasn't he? He played in the under-23s. Nick Rawsthorne. Bauer is out there as well. Connor Bauer, the centre. He was on loan at York last season, Hull-born. He's been a big fan of Hull since he was 6 years old, I think. Fanoa's still out there. Kelly and Ray is now out there. Jack Ray, another Hull lad. He's had 4 years at Leeds, but he came back to this club this year on a 3-year deal. Jack Ray will be playing at Hooker. Matongo, as we've just seen, is still out there. Lytton is in for this second half as well. So they're certainly bringing their youngsters on. Osborne, Washbrook still out there. Turgott comes in as well. Jansen Turgott.
Played some first team, isn't he?
Yeah. Former academy captain. Made his debut against Leeds, Jansen Turgott, a couple of years ago when he was only 18 years of age. Matongo coming off, and Fash, Brad Fash, who we saw a bit of in the first half, and Lee, Green, Wood and Sanderson are the men on the bench. Lee,
still a decent outfit.
Yeah, hooker half-back, another youngster.
Where we go?
So here we go.
Okay.
Toronto in great position. QLT throws it wide, and it's a dive for the corner by Johnny Powdall, who knows how to finish a rugby league try, and boy has he finished that one in some style.
Well done.
First blood of the second half goes to the Toronto Wolfpack.
Well done, Johnny P. Great shape, great skill to execute it. They create the overlap on a bit of space for Johnny Powdall, who flies in at the corner, going at the line. His Jack's out the back. QLT gives Powdall that bit of space, and just for our viewers, you can dive, even your body touches the corner flag, you're still okay if you get this ball down. Great hands, great skill, great finish, Johnny Pound. Oh, was it? He might have dropped it. Don't go to the screen, though. Don't go to the screen.
There's no video referee here today, so there's no right of appeal.
He deserved a try.
No
What's
second
wrong with
goal.
you?
Yeah. Kiss on the cheek.
And a kiss from Fooey.
Fooey.
There's a few people that had a Fooey kiss, but it wasn't like that.
So 20 points to 16. That certainly injects a little more confidence back into this Toronto side. If they were lacking any, I'm sure they weren't.
I don't think they lack confidence. I think, you know, they will have been a bit disappointed with some of their middle D, which gave Hull the front foot, but they do that to a lot of teams. Hull.
So Hall from the touchline, and it's just wide again. Close, but no cigar. But 20 points to 16. And it really is game on again here.
Yeah, good hands. Jake Emmett out the back to Rhys Jacks, who finds Quinton Lala-Togarai too tight the whole defence, and oh, the best. Least said the better. But great try! What a try! Got it down easily.
There is a big screen here. We don't get the replays, we don't get the video referee, but there is a big screen in the ground, and I think, judging by that ooh from some of the Hull fans, I think they saw that probably was dropped, but it goes down in the score statistics. It's a try for Johnny Pownall. First in the Toronto colours. Here's Laithwaite again, still going through the minutes and going through the hard work. Getting himself used to being on a rugby league field again after such a long time away. That look forward to Dixon. Head and feet at the scrum for Hull.
Well, it's the right play, poor execution.
Move back a yard, guys. Guys, move back a yard. Guys, back here, just in front of the line. 10 metres, guys, wait till it's out.
Referee establishing his authority.
He's gone all right, the ref, hasn't he?
Yep.
Stay in, ball in.
Could do with a little more depth in the refereeing department, couldn't we? More referees need to be encouraged to come in and get involved.
Move, play.
One or two young ones coming through. Here's Watts, puts the ball back on the inside, and Hull trying to establish themselves here. 20 metres away. When it comes to Washbrook, who just uses the men on the outside as a bit of a foil, and Michaels was running wide if that offload was coming his way, but it wasn't. But they've still in very decent position. Watts again with a pass. Toronto's defence is drawn to their man. The offload attempted is knocked down, knocked on, the referee says. He's just having a look at his judge for backing up on that. I think it's going to be head and feed here for Hull. Yeah, the Toronto players were congratulating themselves, but the referee decided there that that was Menzies who'd knocked. Was it Menzies who'd knocked on?
He's going for an offload there.
Menzies.
Yeah.
So it was a knock on rather than a knock backwards. So, 6 tackles from here. All things being equal, Hull will get the ball back from the base of the scrum, and they do. And here it comes towards this right-hand side, and Michaels has got a bit of an opportunity, and that pass came his way.
Well done. Good defence in the end. Andrew Dixon cleaning up because he got on the outside, hadn't he? I think Fanoa had got on the outside and tried to release Michaels, and he was sidelined, cattle rushed to the sideline.
So head and feed for Toronto, but hard work still to do here because they will get possession. Start with possession from deep inside their own half. Andrew Dixon looks as though he's been involved in the top battle so far, hasn't he? As they all do.
Wait till the ball's out before we go.
It's one thing jumping on the rowing machine and blasting it out for 40 minutes or so, but get on a rugby league field and suddenly it's a different kind of aerobic fitness that's required. And they're getting it back here. Here's Liam Kay down the middle. Less than 20 away from his own half. Bezic going right. Jack's getting the pass away.
Release! Wait, guys. Wait.
20 metres gain in a couple of tackles. It's been in their hands so far. Popped up and forward comes Menzies with the drive.
Stand up!
Bezic stands and waits and delivers now. The pass left. Taken on by Emmett, who's little inside ball to Moy. was greeted with all the enthusiasm you'd expect, but Hall were right in his face and make the tackle a good one. Wallace now trying to slip and slide his way through. There's the fifth. Here comes the last. Bezic.
Okay.
It's going to be a high testing kick from Jacks here. Well, in fact, not that high and not that testing, as it turned out. And a simple enough take on that left-hand side for Hall to start again here.
Move, Jordan! Play on!
Shuffle step forward.
Release, Bob! Go. Well done, Luke.
Searching on this right-hand side.
2. Bob Bezic, stand up! That's 3. Win it.
Bezic again is still very much involved.
Go. I'll referee it, pal.
At the heart of things.
4. Move!
Couple of tackles left in the set.
Wait. Go.
Hadley in at the halves. Watts to his left. The pass is out.
Right, yeah.
Getting involved was Jack Ray. But Toronto's defence very much involved.
Drop him.
Better defence from the Toronto team, getting much further forward.
40.
Kick from inside the 40, but it's not going to tickle the touchline. Instead, Liam Kay's across there to pick it up.
Show it low. Go low.
And greeted by a decent Hole chase.
Good place. So that's round 2, if you like, to the Wolfpack, because they're starting on their 42-metre line, so it's a good defensive set. It's encouraged them to have a good offensive set.
Well, they've an opportunity here to create a bit of space, but when it comes to Hall, the whole defence has moved across quickly.
Stand up!
So down he goes.
Wait.
Just over half an hour still to play. A penalty for Toronto.
It was a bit too long. I may have my tea hat on, but it was a bit too long. That was a penalty.
Looks more like a tea cozy than a tea hat. I need to insult you, but...
that's the size of the melon he has to go on.
Penalty for Toronto, which will be taken by Rhys Jack. So you were saying that you were looking at signing his brother Riley.
Yeah, he went to Melbourne, made a good decision for himself. NRL were really, really keen. We're keen to get the Canadian brothers together. Apparently he's going really well at Melbourne.
QLT with a pass away here. Here's Worthington, pops it back on the inside for Kay, and Kay's looking for a route back down the middle again. He's met by some robust defence from Hall. The least of it provided by Danny Washbrook, who was very much involved there. Kay to his feet and plays it. And here comes Emmett now trundling forward. He's a big fella. He takes some stopping, but they pull him down. 4 defenders around him. Bezic at acting half again. Moy just on his inside, pawing the ground, but instead it comes back to Wallace. QLT, there's a bit of space here. Surely a try. It is. Liam Kay in at the corner. Space created, opportunity provided, and chance taken by Liam Kay.
Well, that's a super try from the Wolfpack. Little reverse play in and around the ruck, creates the numbers. So you see the play go from one side of the ruck to the other. Wallace to QLT, who has to find the long ball. It still needs finishing this from Kay, and he does well off his left foot and steps back in and under the line. Here's the reverse play from Bezic to Jacks to QLT, who has the long speculator straight from the training ground.
Well, he's a try scorer, isn't he? Liam Kay of some repute at Lee down the years. It was it 35 tries, 36 tries in 2015 in the championship, so that's a level higher than what he will be playing in this year with Toronto. He's going to be a name who'll catch the eye. I mean, the expectation, you might not want to comment on this, Brian, but the expectation is that this Toronto side is going to run in some big scores in League One this year, given the quality of players that you have.
I can see why people are saying that. There is an expectation level amongst ourselves, but there's also the reality of the logistics that we have to go through as well, Woodsy. So, you know, you've got to go to places. It's been a bit disrespectful to places like Barrow and Whitehaven and Workington and these established Keighley. Even you go to Doncaster, you go there and you're mentally not ready in a game of rugby league and you're going to get beaten. So we all like to have expectations. Clearly we're ambitious. Clearly other teams are ambitious. If I'd be just thinking about the other teams, how do we get this team? And so we need to first of all find out the logistics and then make sure that every game we're mentally ready.
Good timing, guys. Well done.
Well, in the stands there, we just saw the coach, the man who's
Go low, Liam.
got the job of guiding this Toronto side throughout the year.
Liam, Watts,
He hopes
release.
into Super League within a couple of years, 2 or 3 years' time.
Go.
Eric Perez was saying 5 years. Sort of the time limit on it as such, but he'd be hoping that within 5 years Toronto could be in with the big boys, playing the likes of Hull FC on a regular basis on the same level.
Okay, markers are all right.
Well, they're doing okay here today. 20 points apiece with 11 minutes of the second half gone. And there are some youngsters. Brad Fash, we just saw, swinging a fist there. I think he's giving the penalty away. Trying to get the man off him, I think.
He's a bit unlucky there, because what he's trying to do is break the grip that the Toronto ball carrier's got on him. That's smart play from, I think it might have been Luke Menzies. Let's see who the ball carrier is. Yeah, I think it's Menzies, and he's got hold of his shirt and he's just trying to find the Sean Peter. Shake him actually. Touch as a coach killer.
Oh, it's not fine touch. He's given hold possession back again. It should have been Toronto attacking the line, and that is compounded by the penalty given away by Bezic. Instead of Toronto attacking the line, it's Hull who will start their set. You would think inside the whole half here. Frustration mounting.
Once you've called out, Bob, don't go back in. Once you've called out, don't go back in.
Here's Fash again. Brad Fash. His name has been on the lips of Hull fans for the last couple of years now. The ex-West Hull amateur player. Seen him in the first team a time or two. Quick play the ball. They're looking down this right-hand side, and step inside by Wasbrook. Kept alive. Good handling. Has given it to Hadley. Hadley now there. Well, they had 3 or 4 on that left-hand side as a potential overlap, but it's brought back down the middle, and Hull's defence, Hull's attack rather, is stopped. 15 away. Short pass from the youngster. Gray. Pivotal at the moment. Not sure whether to twist or stick here. It's going to be driven in, and another pass. Oh, and it's been left behind. Left behind by Hadley. But it's play on as Toronto drop on it. And a real escape there for the Wolfpackers. Bezic
disappointed there, Hadley. He couldn't drag it in. He was catching under pressure with a Toronto player in his eye line and just couldn't grab the ball in, which is a let-off for the Wolfpack.
Okay.
So Kay collects and has a little bit of a gamble forward to see what's ahead of him. Willing defenders, that's what's ahead of him. So Bezic again, very much one of the older men of the side. Out towards QLT, who just pops that ball out again. You've got to be sharp.
All right.
And there's Pownall.
Move! 3, win
He's
it.
put down. Bezic. It's Jax. Little dodge and a weave and a dart and a dash. And
move now, first.
gathers in another 15 yards or so towards the halfway line. Good performance, good effort this by Toronto. Menzies is another who takes it in. Last tackle coming up, so Bezic will look for touch. It hits the player. The referee says it's still at the 5th. So another kick. Pownall to the middle. And I think that Wallace has it, but it is still going to be the 6th tackle. So it'll be a handover for him.
Play that, go away. Flat turnover.
Yep, handover. He's saying that the... Well, here's the try and catch from Hadley. He just couldn't bring it in, could he? Fash it was it?
So Osborne, young Osborne.
On the field, release! Okay.
Up to the 40-metre mark.
2. Jake Emmett, stand up!
FC looking to plough forward, just get a bit of territory here, trying to establish a little bit of dominance. Finding this Toronto pack another tenacious outfit to come up against.
They stepped it up a little bit defensively this second half.
Okay. Play on. Play on.
Ground, but the referee says play on.
4. Craig, stand up.
Up and played. A couple of tackles still to go. Ray puts it back on the inside. Howard forward.
Jake Emmett, stand up.
No way through.
Oh, well held, Luke.
So out it goes from Hadley, and then the kick over the top, and QLT is underneath it, perilously close to his touchline. And he'll be happy enough to bring it in safe and give Toronto possession.
Between the devil and the deep blue sea there, wasn't he? Does he catch it and risk going out on the sideline? Does he catch it and try and come infield?
Oh, look at this handling. And they're keeping it alive there. Kay with the offload, and it's paying dividends. Pownall.
Love a backfield play.
Okay, play on.
Whoa. Saw one from Fanoa, didn't we, in the first half? Confident coach Rowley wants to create the same kind of atmosphere when you get the opportunity. Every time you get the ball to attack. There's the expansive play from the Wolfpack. Keane finds finds his knee, finds Pownell trying to help him out as well.
Oh. Let go, Liam!
Siglo up to his feet and plays it, and Bezic goes running away, and it's a little bit scruffy at the moment, and it has been knocked on. The referee decides. So head and feed for Hull FC 40 metres away.
A bit scruffy that in the end of the set there, completion. A bit of fatigue now, we'll say, on both sides. Even though Hull have pretty much changed half their team, they should be a little bit fresher.
Well left there. Hold on.
Into unknown territory now, a lot of the Wolfpack team.
Wait till we're locked in, guys. Head in, Bob. Ball in. Out!
Timovavi, who's putting the ball into the scrum. And it's a lovely little step and a dart and a dash that has taken Hull to within 20 metres away, and they get the penalty as well.
That's a justifiable penalty too.
Jansen Turgut.
By his team a bit of time there was Bezic.
Sharp stuff by that particular youngster.
We've
seen more of him this year, Jansen Turgut. So a real test for Toronto here on their own line. It's taken in by Washbrook. Held up 5 metres away.
Let him stand!
So Hadley moves in at dummy half, looking to that left-hand side. Thompson swallowed in by a host of defenders. Has to take the tackle. Toronto's defence is working hard at the moment, but there's more tests to come here. Back it comes, quick hands from Westbrook, and Michaels picks it up for the corner. Well, he would have been short anyway, but the referees decided it was a knock-on in the build-up too.
Yeah. Great scramble from the Wolfpack. We're disappointed they didn't execute there. Shawn Michaels nearly in at the corner. I think it was a knock on the play before, I think. So we see Timovavi, he's considering that one's the knock on there on the centre. They covered well anyway. Dixon and Worthington there, throwing their bodies at the line. That's the one he thinks is knocked forward.
Right, water off, guys. Head in, Bob.
Good defence anyway, wasn't it? Because, I mean, those three didn't realise that the referee had given the decision their way already.
Oh, great D.
To get there, here's Worthington.
Move! Right here. Go.
QLT at dummy half, trying to get things going again is Hall, who holds it up and wants the offload, but he's lost possession. The referee says play on, and this could well be another try in the corner. And what about that for a finish? Terrific from young Nick Rawsthorne, flying in, literally flying in at the end, and he gets his name on the score sheet. Nick Rawsthorne, and Hull FC sneaking back into the lead again.
That's a great finish from Rawsthorne. He's got the wheels clearly. I think Hall has to take a little bit of responsibility. He does try to offload, he's trying to free his team, doesn't come off. Cleaned up by Washbrook, I think it is, and then Rawsthorne in at the corner. I'm going to stop him from there. Here's the Hall. Good decision or bad decision? Probably a bad decision in this respect. Trying to release his players, and Rawsthorne just got to get to the corner, get to the corner, get to the corner, and gets to the corner.
He grew up playing rugby union, Nick Rawsthorne, but he has been very much involved in rugby league in the last few years. Leeds, as we mentioned, and Halifax as well. I think he did have a few games here at Hull with the under-23s last year. He can kick goals as well.
Experienced coach Rashford, he's got big raps on him. He thinks he's going to come through and be very, very exciting.
The substitution going on, by the way. Litton has come on. What about that kick? What about that kick from the touchline? Terrific, absolutely terrific. And 26 points to 20. Hull now lead. Rawsthorne, the try scorer. So Toronto looking for a response again here.
Guys, stay on.
Yeah.
Well done.
In the back of their own doing, they were scrambled into the corner, but a lot of scramble going on at the moment. And
no penalties, guys.
Craig Hall with tough decision to make, probably erred on the wrong side of that decision to release Rawsthorne in the corner.
Stand up. Wait.
Tackle 2, still short of the 20-metre mark, but they'll be looking to chew up the yards here. Thompson goes back down the harder route down the middle.
Movement! Win here.
He too is put down. Rattling in, rattled down again. Toronto's defence standing up. This is a real tough time of the game here, isn't it? An hour played, penalty given away. This is where Toronto have got to dig deep now to try and keep themselves in this match.
Just a few of those errors, and you know, from fatigue, it comes through fatigue. It makes cowards of us all, Dave, and we're just getting a little bit of. I think he's been on to Jake Emmett for the last few rucks, and he's just wants a word now with Craig Hall about what's happening in the middle, about the length of time.
Penalty for holding down. It's not the speed of it, it's the second effort. Yep.
Second effort, he's saying, not the speed of it, it's the second effort.
They've not been penalised. Jake Emmett especially. Time back on.
So the penalty will put Hull in a very decent position. 10 metres inside the Toronto half, and good carry by Mahe Fano, who needs put forwards when you've got wingers of that size and power, and he does well to offload as well. He's going to get involved here at dummy half. On the feet of Litton. Watts holds it up. Ball held at his chest. Still plenty to go here. So Lavavi helping it on. Flicked pass away for Noah in the centres. Wanted to get that pass out to Michaels, but it's gone to ground and Toronto have it back. And there's a big relief for the Canadian side. And there's an injury here as well, is there? Or is it just the ball was stolen? No. The referee's given a penalty.
Bob Bedwick's old man Mahe for Noah, if he could ever be an old man. He's giving him the ball back. He's pinched it, he's pinched it.
Onside, Adam.
So the penalty for Toronto, kicked out by Blake Wallace.
On his foot.
Just the one score between the side that will start the year in Super League and the side that will start in League One. Huge disparity in their league positions, but not much difference in terms of output and performance so far today. QLT down that right-hand side, trying to keep things going. Toronto up to the halfway line and making progress still. Will the pass look forward to Dempsey as that is on the field, and the whole fans out there called it, and the referee agrees.
Yeah, it was forward.
Come down.
Wolfpack players shaking their head, but referee just said to Blake Wallace, that was a forward pass. Whatever we say. Referee just said to Blake Wallace, the day I start listening to the crowd is the day I give it up. The crowd was shouting.
Going that way.
Tom Dempsey on the field, by the way. He's another Canadian international, isn't he? A bit of heritage there. He's snapped up from, was it the East Tigers? Queensland. They're playing the Queensland Cup, East Tigers. So he's another will keep around. He's only a youngster, isn't he? 22, a relative youngster, 22 years of age.
He's represented Canada, I think, on 5, 6, 7 occasions now. With Jackson.
It's Litton. He's the man who's operating at dummy half here for Hull. Here's Litton. Wants it played quicker, and it's given us a knock-on. Well, Litton was claiming that they should get a penalty because it was all too slow, but the referee decided that it was actually knocked on by Fanoa, so the head and feet goes here to Toronto.
Yeah, Fanoa's not happy about that. He reckoned he was pushed over just as he was playing. He does drop the ball if you have a look. Here we go. Watch this one. That's after the event, I think. After Dixon's claiming a forced error.
Guys, wait there.
There we go. Swung his leg. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Wait on. Where have we got, Blake? Ball in.
3 of them wrestling around.
Out.
Strong boy.
Yeah.
And he drops it.
And he drops it. And that's given Toronto this possession and this position. Bezic at dummy half. Inside it goes. Emmett. Decides to go on alone. Big powerful run forward again, but can't really get into his stride. Put down 40 metres out.
Wait.
Just the one trying a goal in it. Bezic at dummy half again now. Running it back towards the middle.
Okay.
Wallace gets it away. Dummy shown. Taken on by Reece Dean, who knows his way around these parts. The whole youngster who signed for Toronto this year, having been round the edges of things at Hull FC for the last couple of years. Taking his opportunity, and Toronto looking to take their opportunity here if they can. Oh, and they've blown it. Blake Wallace, poor pass to him. Round his knees, couldn't take it in. Possession given away, and Hull FC have it back again.
That's that element of practice that will go superbly well. It's not the greatest pass from Bob Besik's a bit low. He can't bring it out. And when you're 60 minutes into 65 minutes into a first season, first run out, then you've got to execute your skill.
Thompson angling his way in. You can hear that oof as he took it in and hit by a couple of defenders. Played, taken on. Again, a stride or two by Fash. Well, they're looking for the gaps here, and they found the gaps here. Thompson striding through. He's got support on this right-hand side. Michaels has a chance to finish here, but the black defenders, the black-shirted defenders are back there to put him down 10 metres away. But there's still an opportunity. Hadley back towards the middle, thrown by Ray again, out to that left-hand side. Hall's defence, Hall's attack rather, looking to pass. Little chip by Ray is charged down. Is this going to be another set? No, yeah, it is. It's still, well, it's a zero tackle. It's another set. The referee's decided that Toronto played at that.
6s and 7s here, the Toronto team. 3 sets on the bounce. What have you got in the tank, boys?
Here it comes, right again for Noah. A physical test, but he flicks it away and into touch beyond Michaels. And the Toronto side breathe not only a sigh of relief, they actually breathe again. They're allowed to breathe again because their oxygen stores are running out.
They survived. They're making it hard for themselves with some silly penalties and errors, and Fanoa's a handful at the best of time. He gets on the outside of Worthington. Kay tries to come in to help, and Fanoa flicks it to the touch judge, thankfully, for the Toronto team.
He's having a frustrating time of it in the second half. 2 tries in the first half.
Every yard matters. Head in, Bob.
Head and feet for Toronto.
Ball in.
30 minutes left to play. Just under.
Play on. Well done, guys.
They're doing well. They're doing okay. Ryan Burrows is on the field.
Captain America.
Captain America. He's a winger, isn't he? Washington-born at Ryan Burrows. This is a good story. He's played a lot of sports and got involved with the North Virginia Eagles in the USA. Played for the USA national team. Was picked up by the Wentworthville Magpies in New South Wales, the feeder club for Parramatta. And here he is now running away with the Toronto side. So there's quite a bit of North American influence that's growing into your team.
Yep.
Bussy gets a penalty. Toronto get a lift. Kick to touch will take them deep inside the whole half and give them a position to really have a go at this whole side. Hall's kick. Delivered efficiently. Tap, restart. We'll see Toronto 25 metres out. Here it comes. Taken into the first instance by Sidler. 15 metres away. Besik stands and waits. Try here for Toronto would make this really interesting now. Wallace takes it on. Throws a long pass to that right-hand side that is a little over-ambitious. And he might be Captain America, but I think he needed superpowers to draw that one in, didn't he?
He's getting a bit scruffy on the execution side of things for both teams. Just trying to get back on the level board, on the scoreboard, and it's Wallace with the big speculator. It's way off the mark. Both teams now guilty of throwing the ball early in their sets.
What's Lee Radford made of all this, do you think?
Well,
They were beaten by Hull KR, weren't they, last week?
Yeah.
Ball in.
I think he'll be reasonably pleased with the first half.
Doing exactly the same.
They have an earlier start to the season, don't they, than you do? They're up and running
2 weeks,
February the 9th.
February the 9th,
February
yeah.
the 10th, I think it is. So not far away there.
They've probably got another hit out next week, haven't they?
Broke in that scrum.
You can read too much into pre-season sometimes, can't you?
Absolutely.
Especially for a club like Hull.
But you have to get used to this side of the game. You can run as many unopposed sessions and patterns and shapes as you want to, but the reality is you've got to get this contact side of it. It's a great game, rugby league. You have to be so honest.
A dummy half it comes again from Lytton, and Hull FC moving their way inside Toronto's half. Second half, if you're just switching on, is being won at the moment by Toronto by 2 tries to 1. Trading 12-12 at half-time, but Pownall and Kay, the 2 wingers, Scoring earlier on, only for Rawsthorne to get one back for Hull. Young player of with much promise. 5 tackles gone. Here comes the 6th. So in moves Lytton again.
Okay.
Chip is high. QLT. We've not seen him at his running best so far. Maybe now, as he brings it out. The 2 Indian defenders swamping around. Again at Super League level, the jet-heeled super boots of his might not be quite as effective, but we've seen him at Championship level, and I think at League One he's going to be a real eye-catcher, isn't he, QLT?
Yeah, let's hope so for the Wolfpack, but he's been safe today, hasn't he, and cleaned up most things, so it certainly looks the part.
The Wolfpack coming forward again. Again, that looks as though it might have been a little forward, and belatedly the referee decides it was. Bussey trying to bustle his way through, but from a pass that was about a yard forward.
He's not happy, is he? He doesn't think it was forward.
So forward and on. Let's have a look. I think that was, wasn't it? I don't think you can argue with that, can you?
I think when you're trying to show that to people on the screen and our viewers watching, look at the hand position of the halfback that passes the ball, and in all honesty there it looks slightly forward, doesn't it?
Well, it's given Toronto another test here, because it'll be another set of 6 that Hull have deep inside the Canadians' half. It was a high pass that was dragged in well in the end by Fanoa, and he's lost ground. I think he was thinking about the offload there, but he's kept a hold in the end.
I think he did offload.
And got it back again. Michaels going in search, but searching in vain. The dummy half, it's Lytton. Oh, it's a knock-on. It's a cheap error made by Hull.
I think that's on the back of the aggression from the Wolfpack. I thought they were aggressive on Fanoa. Dixon got up and rushed him right back towards his own line, and then Fash is trying to get the ball in when they're going backwards, and took his part there, the Wolfpack line speed and going forward. And to be fair, he clean drops it too.
Yeah, he does. No arguments about that, but Toronto start the set then inside their opponent's half.
I'm waiting for you guys to back in.
I think both sets of forwards have got a little bit of an agreement here that they'll wait and get some breath back in their lungs. And the referee said, I'm waiting for you guys. You know, it's up to you. And I think they were both just said, we'll have a little bit of a rest here. It's a tough all game, this, so we'll take this break. Here's QLT, 40 metres out, put down. Toronto, 5 tackles to go in this set. Opportunity knocks here. And Quentin Olatagaga is injured.
I think he got a smack around the melon. Oh, he got hit on the side and it's winded him. What's your bet?
Well, he's not healthy at the moment, is he? Physio on. How are you feeling, Quentin? Oh, just give me a minute or two. Just give me a minute.
His knee. Look at him rubbing his knee.
Yeah. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Magic water. That'll do. Here we go.
Yeah,
Is he going off, Bob?
Right there, I think he got a bang on his knee.
Thumped into the ground. The temperatures here are just hovering above freezing, but the ground will be pretty firm, won't it? And the knee planted down fairly hard. Paul Rowley, the Toronto coach.
We're ready, guys.
Looking on. Real chance for him as well, isn't it, for Paul Rowley? I mean, had a great time at Lee and got them to the cusp of promotion. A lot of people very impressed with what he did there. A real chance here to grow this club as well.
Away we go.
As head coach. Here we go. QLT's okay. 5 tackles to go, and they're searching down that blind side again, but very close to the sidelines. Lucky to keep in play. Bezic, a dummy half, will switch it back to the middle again here now. It's going to be driven in by Fleming, the Welshman, or the Welsh international, whose real good leg strength has taken him another 5 yards or so. And what about this for a position here at the moment for the Wolfpack? Bezic's back there again. Inside ball to Wallace. They're keeping it alive. QLT steps away from one, gets the pass away. A step back on the inside, but no dice.
Good scrambling defence from Hull.
Back it comes again. They've still got tackles in the bag. Reece Dean involved very much so at the moment. In by Bussey. Bussey. Last tackle coming up now. What can they do with this? Back it goes. Into the hands of Dean. Switches it left. It bounces up. Dixon with a kick forward. It's not a great kick. It's easily taken. And Hull FC have it back again, albeit struggling to evade their own line.
Yeah, again, not a great end to the set there for the Wolfpack, but the right kind of field position. Try and restrict the territory now from this Hull side and get the ball back in decent field position again.
5 minutes left to play. 6 points in it, 1 try, 1 goal, that's all. Hull FC against the Toronto Wolfpack. It's been a very, very decent first hit out by the Canadian side, as it was by their superstar, their Tongan superstar there, Fui Moi Moi, who came forward with a real crashing tackle. It's a good set here, defensively.
It is. That's 5, wasn't it?
Keeping Hull penned.
Danny Fleming! Last tackle!
So it's going to have to be a kick from inside their own 40.
Good lad, well done.
Here we go.
40!
Kick out of dummy half. QLT's across there. The
Off the foot.
bounce not quite as kind as he would have wanted to, but he's safely gathered in nonetheless. And here they start from, well, nearly 40 metres away from their own line.
Yep, good start point.
Go.
Kay involved. Liam Kay not wanting to be stopped at the first instance. Eventually he has to play the ball.
2.
As the tackle comes in from Turgut.
Okay.
Now it's played. Bezic on this left-hand side.
3.
Hammered forward again by Laithwaite. Bezic. What runners has he got here? QLT involved again. Hall out to that right-hand side.
4.
Still looking, still searching, and getting a penalty. Getting a penalty.
Play on. Saying he's had a double nibble at him. He's tackled him and wanted to get up to play it, and he's gone back in, and that's the reason for the penalty.
So here they come, 6 tackles to have a real goal, and what about that pass as Laithwaite goes through and throws the ball away, literally.
Stick hold there, didn't
Oh,
he? He was through.
there's still another 5 tackles to go. Well, he'll be kicking himself very hard, won't he, James? He knew as soon as he threw that pass, he knew he'd done it wrong.
You'd rather him take him on, wouldn't he? Just take him on and get tackled by the legs.
Don't play it, Steve.
The excitement of playing in his first game for 18 months, maybe just going to his head there.
3. Move, Bob!
It has given Hull FC possession back again. 3 and a bit minutes to play. Fash battering it forward.
4. Move now!
It's an untidy play the ball, which the referee decides wasn't helped by the marker. Somebody says something out of turn. You can't talk back to the referee in this game. He marches you another 10 yards further downfield and says, take the penalty from here, Hull FC.
Well, it's a double whammy, really. I don't get the gobbing off. I don't get the ill discipline, because first and foremost, there's a Laithwaite effort. He's looking for the big speculator, unfortunately. He would have been better taking the tackle, as we said. And then so you get the play one error there, and the penalty and the gobbing off, and all of a sudden in the wrong field position for Wolfpack.
2.5 to go. Hull FC looking to try and finish with a flourish here if they can, but the defensive pressure makes that a little untidy. Hadley picks up, keeps it safe.
Get up!
The referee says, get up. Get on with it. So here they come, getting up and getting on with it. Turgut who's taken it in.
Move! Play on, off the foot.
Dummy half, it's young Lee with a 7 on his back. Flash was involved as well there again.
4. Philly, stand up!
Fui Moi Moi involved in the tackle. Lee went one way, comes back the other.
Shoulder. Last.
It's Marvin Lee, by the way.
Brilliant, Bob. Steve.
So Hull KR a couple of years ago was released by them. He's been playing amateur for school over this last 12 months or so. There's a kick to the in-goal area, and this time it is a very good kick because it has to be dealt with. No letting that go. And it was Burrows, wasn't he, who got across and pushed it away.
I think he had to play at the ball.
Yeah.
The temptation is this close to the end of the game. If you don't know what he's going to do here, he's got to play at that.
2 Hull players rushing in, one odd bounce, and he's made to look foolish if he doesn't put it out of play, isn't he? That's a good dropout, though.
Okay.
Marvin Lee will catch it. And back he comes with a little bit of interest.
1. Move, Steve! Ready, guys.
2 minutes left to play. So this almost certainly will be Hull's last time in possession, and Toronto will get the ball back if Hull can't produce a repeat set or a try here. In it's taken.
3. Stand up, Bob.
Washbrook,
Wait, guys. Wait.
Sanderson rather.
Wait.
goes left, little step.
Shoulder. 4, release, ball.
Toronto still
4.
working hard here, showing good energy at the back end of this game,
Play on shot.
in which they've given an awful lot. The footwork is testing them out, but they're hanging on. Fleming and QLT involved in the defence. It was Pick, in fact, who was there involved in that defence. Back it comes again. Lee with a kick towards this touchline. Kay's measuring himself up. He's under pressure there and manages to knock it back, but Laithwaite will take it safe. And it's a knock-on. It was a whole hand that knocked it on.
Knock on in front of the line.
So Toronto will get possession here. But the hooter sounds, and the referee decides that is the end of the game. So Toronto not conceding at the end, going down by 26 points to 20. But Brian Noble, the very first Toronto game to lose by only 6 points against Hull. How pleased are you, and how pleased should everybody involved in Toronto be with what they've seen here today?
They should be excited about what's achievable. I think they've done really well today against quality opposition, the Challenge Cup holders, the would-be grand finalists this year in Super League, and I think that's a terrific result. Knowing the coaching staff as I do, there's so much to work on and so much to improve, but what a fabulous statement that's been made today by this Toronto team. They've done well, they've created well, they had the opportunities towards the end to level up the game, didn't quite do that, but it's not about the scoreboard today, Dave, it's about what's been achieved so far in getting this group of people together, which has been a tremendous effort from second one, and we're now building towards the campaign in the League One and whatever else happens comes this year, but that's a great start.
And the likelihood is, you know, depending on how Toronto go in the Challenge Cup and what kind of a draw they get, the likelihood is this is the best quality opposition they're going to face all year. So to lose by only 6 points, and that's an incredible effort.
But I say the great leveller for all of us is we've got that element of travel, the dynamics of doing what nobody else has ever done before in relation to transatlantic. The excitement is all there for us, but we have to stay tight as a group and try to a group of players and understand that we still have to improve. The reality is we probably won't face that amount of quality through the year, but that doesn't mean that the mentality of rugby league is not to be challenged as well.
Well, let's hear from the Toronto skipper right now, Craig Hall. He's down there with Aaron Murphy.
Thanks, Dave. Toronto Wolfpack captain Craig Hall with us now, and first off, a bit of history. So talk us through the emotions before and during the game leading up to the 26-20. It's a defeat, but it was a very good game.
Yeah, I think it's just been excitement all week. You know, we've built up to this for the last 8 or 9 weeks, and there's been a lot more preparation before this, club-wise, but the lads have been really looking forward to it. We just didn't quite do ourselves justice today.
It was a fast, physical game, and there was nothing exhibition about this. It might be preseason for you guys as you both amp up for your respective campaigns, but that was a tense affair at times, physical as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's what we needed. It'll be only be a really friendly of the year, so we needed something physical to go into. You know, you can only do so much training to yourself, so you know, thanks for all for putting the game up.
Tell us a little bit about you've got a history here, you were a very good player here, you have a lot of good friends in this community around Hull FC. Talk about looking down across the pitch and seeing your old team.
Yeah, it's great, you know, like I say, I played here, I started here, I live 5 minutes away from the ground, so it's been really exciting for me today. Danny Washbrook, good mate, he was captain as well, so it was a good day for us.
Thanks, and look, it's been a pleasure to see you here today. We'll see you all season long on Premier Sports.
Yeah, can't wait. Cheers, thank you.
Cheers. Back upstairs to you guys.
Thanks to Aaron, and thanks to Craig Hall as well. We're hearing from lots more people in the next few minutes or so. We're right back in just a moment, but a win for Hull KR, 26 points to 20, but a great start for Toronto Wolfpack. Welcome back. We enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that. 26 points to 20. Hull FC winning today, but it's a terrific start from Toronto's point of view. Brian Noble, happy with what you saw today?
Great start. Lots of room for improvement. We've set our standards really, really high, and the boys went close to that and can improve.
OK, well, let's hear from the head coach, Paul Rowley, who's down with Aaron on the sidelines.
Thanks, guys. Coach, 26-20, it was close, and all the players, a couple of guys we just talked to, it was a physical and fast affair.
It's given us a good yardstick. We won't rejoice in defeat, that's for sure. But yeah, I think We're not a bad side. We've got a lot better, and like I say, that gives us a good start point to start working hard, and we'll improve a lot, because at times for us, we thought we was distinctly average, but people around, everybody's really upbeat about it. But as a group, we like winning, and we'll celebrate when we win. But yeah, there's a lot of positives, that's for sure.
Well, talk about a couple of the key guys that stuck out for you this evening, because it was a magnificent effort top to bottom. I don't think anyone had a bad game, but a couple of guys that really stood out for you and something that you can build on going into March.
Yeah, I thought both our halfbacks in Jacks and Wallace, first time they've ever played together. I shook everybody's hand today. Everybody was on debut today. Some boys in there hadn't played for 12 months, 2 years, quite several of them. So I guess we've got to remember that as well. So yeah, it's a team effort, and we asked if they could come together in, as a family and work hard together, and I think they tick that box. They're certainly all-hearted. We give Hull too many free shots, if you like. With some penalties, not finding touch, then 3 penalties on the back. So we give some soft stuff away, but certainly Hull had to work for it, and a strong Hull as well. So we wanted it no other way, and it's not a bad way to show the world, I guess, live on television what we're about and the direction that we're going.
Well, we appreciate the time, and like you said, we can't wait to cover you all season long. So best of luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Back upstairs to you.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to get a little warmer as the season goes on as well. It's blooming cold in Hull, I can tell you that much, but we've been warmed with what we saw there. I mean, a reaction you'd expect there from Paul Rowley, kind of feet on the ground, average at times, we can get better, but also we're very pleased with a lot of stuff that happened.
That's a fair reflection. There are some bits that were really scruffy, but it's our first hit out. It was Hull's first hit out, so there's going to be that element of scruffiness from both sides, but I thought the standard overall was very, very high, and there is a heck of a lot of improvement in the Wolfpack team, and that's the exciting thing, with players to come in and an execution to complete and a new kicking game. So for it being new, I think the most pertinent point that Paul made there was the fact that the group have come together really well and like each other. And that's going to be tested in other ways, I've tried to explain to our viewers, with the element of travel, not just overseas, but in and around the country.
Yeah, a lot of places to go. London, South Wales, North Wales, Cumbria. Right, as far as the second half was concerned, Toronto actually won, I think 12 points to 6. 3 tries in the second half, 2 of them from Toronto.
Yeah, a bit of a flyer at the start. Last player here of the game had been stopped, and Quinton finds Johnny P, who got the ball down according to the referee, but if it was on the big screen it might have an issue, but nice and slick, and captures the shortened Hull line. He just can't quite get there, the Hull defender, and Johnny Pownell adjudicated to get the ball over the line and through the hands, and this is the way that we're hoping to play all the year, to create opportunities on the fringes.
There's an in-goal touch judge you can see there who had a very close view of that, but you have to say, from behind, that looks as though he, in real time, that looks as though he had got it down, didn't he? But anyway, this one, no doubts about this one.
No.
This is the other wing.
Again,
this is
exploiting on the other side. Still needed finishing there, and he's come off the big left foot as Liam Kay, which he's done quite a lot, as you pointed out, in the Championship. And again, on the back of a reverse play from one side of the ruck to the other, through the half-back's hands, Wallace to Reece Jacks to QLT, who finds the big long play to Liam Kay.
And if today is all about looking at the future for Toronto, it was, we'll just see this, another angle of this one.
Yeah.
It was also about looking to the future for Hull FC as well. I mean, let's not forget Lee Radford today giving a run out to young players who might not figure in his first team on a regular basis, but who could be important. And the winger, Nick Rawsthorne, the scorer here, this is a good finish.
Well, there's a fair assist from Craig Hall as well, who finds the speculating offload that goes straight to the Hull player, and to get it out there, we see Hall is surrounded and he's trying to get it free to release his arms, and Rawsthorne's got it running. Well, you'd expect and you'd hope that he would finish that, but it is a good finish and he gets there. Good, fair play to him.
What you can't show in analysis like this is the hard-working defence. There's a lot of hard-working defence today from Toronto.
And from Hull as well. You know, it takes 2 to tango, and Hull have played their part in a very good game, very good pre-season game, and I thought the Wolfpack defence in the second half stepped up to the plate.
Well, hopefully that's whetted your appetite for what's to come, and a lot to come here on Premier Sports. Toronto Wolfpack fixtures, London on March the 4th against the Scholars, up to Whitehaven on March the 12th. Keighley Cougars, I mean, these are some of the more familiar names in rugby league. These are where they're going to really be tested, like of Keighley Cougars, Doncaster and North Wales Crusaders as well on April the 14th. And don't forget, right here on this channel, you can see lots of the NRL and the back chat programme as well. But that's our next live rugby league action, London Scholars against Toronto Wolfpack on March the 4th. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff, so make a date for that. Well, it's been a good start, hasn't it, as far as Toronto is concerned. Thanks to Brian Noble, who's been alongside us. We look forward to his company down this season. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and well done to Toronto Wolfpack.
Lundqvist has got to carry it.
The first save of the game that he had to make was a good one, and I think that gave him a little confidence early on.
And curled around to the outside by Vanek, and another shot in front is held by Lundqvist. That's fed on back for a hurried shot. By Lundqvist, what a strong shot that was. Ahead it comes to Zuccarello, moves in with Miller, 2 on 0. He scores! Points number 60 and 61, win number 20 for Henrik Lundqvist, and a shutout.
Some history for Henrik. Hello and welcome to On the Fly. I'm Jamie Hirsch. Darren Pang will join the show in just a moment. Henrik Lundqvist earned his 20th win of the season on Sunday afternoon, becoming the first goalie in NHL history with at least 20 wins in each of his first 12 seasons. An amazing accomplishment, but there was no rest for the weary as the King would face the other Kings, meaning that team from LA, on Monday night. The bad news for the Rangers is they'll be without Kevin Hayes for the next 2 to 3 weeks after he suffered a lower body injury on Sunday. And if anybody knows about injuries, it's the Kings, who have several key players still out of the lineup and are trying to stop a skid of 3 straight regulation losses. So it's desperate times for the Kings as they visit the Garden. The Blue Shirts are 7-1 in the second leg of back-to-back games this season. New York is also 7-1 against the Pacific Division. Could both trends continue?
The other 70s.